Good morning, everyone. I'm not sure if my sound is working. Honorable Mudisi, I see you. Okay.
Good morning, we can hear you.
Thank you and good morning, Minister.
Dumelang bagolo.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. Morning, honorable members.
Morning, Chair.
Morning, Chair.
Goeiemorgen, minister.
Goeiemorgen, Chair. Voorzitter.
Is the deputy minister here? Goeiemorgen, deputy minister.
Morning, Chair. We received an apology from the DM.
Oh, Molo Chilis.
DM, I think, is going to the select committee.
Oh, okay. Okay. I think we should start. It's raining cats and dogs in Gauteng. A very good morning, Tuesday, the 7th of November. Welcome to the meeting of the Portfolio Committee of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment. Today we are making a follow-up on the stolen rhino stockpiles in the Northwest. We are scheduled to have an
recording in progress.
The MEC Klapi. Is the MEC here? Dumela MEC? MEC Dumela?
Chair, they have not joined.
Excuse me?
They have not joined yet, Chair.
They have not joined yet. Oh, okay. The Northwest Parks and Tourism Board, are they here?
Yes, Chair, we are here. Good morning, Chair.
Dumela Melega.
Re teng le kae modulasetulo?
No, dialogues. The South African Police Services, are you here? Dumela?
Good morning, Honorable Chairperson, the Minister, the Honorable Members, and everybody on the platform. From the South African Police Service, the Directorate for Priority is myself, Lieutenant General Libia. I'm accompanied by the Divisional Commissioner of National Priority Offenses, Lieutenant General Musibi, the Provincial Head of the DPCI in the Northwest, Major General Mboto, the Executive Support Officer in the National Director of Public, in the DPCI Head Office, Major General Suraj Bali, and the Section Head for Economic Protected Resources, which include rhino matters, Brigadier Maguani, and the last one is Brigadier Mbambo, who is our communication officer. The greater service is represented by Lieutenant Colonel Mulambo, who is the parliamentary liaison officer. So those are the representatives from the DPCI. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Sorry. Good morning. Thank you very much, Lieutenant General. Welcome. At least You can see, gore, ke na le tse pedinyana. Welcome. We also have a briefing from the South African National Parks Minister. I know that they should be here, or will they be joining us later?
The chair is here, Meyako is here, and the CEO is also here.
Wonderful, wonderful. Isimangaliso Wetland Park Authority.
Yes, we are here, Chairperson. Yes, we are here, Chairperson.
Oh, good morning, Mr. CEO. How are you?
Morning, Chairperson. Morning, Minister. Morning, Deputy Minister, and members of the Portfolio Committee, colleagues, Chairpersons.
All right, then it means we're ready to go. Almost everyone else is here. I'm not too sure if my sound is clear. Like I said, it's raining cats and dogs in Gauteng. I just hope that everyone else can hear me. Otherwise, I'll have to put some head what. Okay.
You are very, very clear, Chair.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much, Honorable Weber. Do we have apologies, Chileka?
Yes, Chair, we do.
Recording stopped.
I received the following apologies, Chair. Deputy Minister Sogu, DG Shabalala, Minister Gcele, Deputy Minister Matale, National Commissioner Masemula, and Honorable Kanjo and Paulson will join around 10. They are traveling to Parliament. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Do we have a necessary quorum?
We do, Chair.
Okay. Any other apologies, honorable members? Lieutenant Libea.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Apology. I think that time did not see that from the police side there is also the provincial commissioner of the Northwest who is in the meeting, Lieutenant General Buena. Thank you.
Lieutenant General.
Lieutenant General Buena.
Buena, okay. Ragomgela Re Buena. Mr. or Ms. Kokong.
Good morning, Honorable Chair, honorable members, the Minister, and everybody else on the platform. We have just received an apology from the acting head of department for the economic development, environment, conservation, and tourism, Ms. Diale. They're still busy with broader extract issues, and I've just been in contact with the office of the MEC. She's trying to connect. I think she will connect as we move on. Thank you, Chair.
Wonderful. We need the minister, the MEC, as soon as possible. In terms of our agenda, we're supposed to start with her. Let's hope she gets connection as soon as possible. In the meantime, honorable members, may I request that we get the mover for the adoption of the agenda.
Thank you, Chair. I'll move to adopt the agenda.
Thank you, Honorable Winkler. Can I get a seconder?
Good morning, Chair. I second Honorable Mbata.
Morning, Honorable Mbata. Welcome, Siabonga. Thank you very much. Honorable members, that is how our meeting will flow today. Do we have the MEC already? Has she joined?
No, Chair.
Not yet.
Not yet, Chair.
I see on the chat box, there are people who are struggling with sound. TM Matsejo is struggling with sound. James Mowella is also struggling with sound. Good morning, Honorable Bryant.
Good morning, Chairperson. Chair, I wonder maybe we can try establish what the issue is with the MEC logging in, whether it's a connection issue or computer issue or what it is, because at the moment it just appears as if she's late, which is not fair for everybody else who's waiting.
All right. Is there anyone from the office of the MEC here? Are we winning with the MEC?
Honorable Chair, I've just phoned her office. I'm being told she's struggling with a connection.
It's a network.
Could be, Chair. I'll make a follow-up again.
Honorable members, can I request that we move on? The MEC will join, and otherwise we don't know how long is she going to struggle. May I request that we then move to those who are available and just restructure a bit. Is that acceptable?
May we start with SANParks and Isimangaliso, Chair?
It's acceptable, Chair. We can continue.
Good morning, Honorable Mbata Siabonga. May I request Minister to then introduce the chairperson of the board of South African National Parks.
Good morning, Chairperson, and good morning to all the honorable members and also to all officials who are in this meeting. Chairperson, Ms. Pam Yako is well known to this committee, and she will be introducing the presentation. Let me hand over to her.
Honorable Chairperson and members, Minister, other chairpersons that are in attendance, and colleagues, let me greet you this cold. It is, the chair said it was raining, but it's also cold morning in Gauteng. In the interest of time, Honorable Chairperson and members, I'm not
Recording in progress.
I'm not going to give a long introduction. Safe to say that we are, the CEO is leading, is with a delegation that includes the CFO, are going to be leading us in presenting Q1 performance by South African National Parks. Just to note, Honorable Chairperson and honorable members, that we managed to achieve 86% of the planned targets. We are concerned about the need to move these figures up, and we want to look at in moving forward, putting more resources or even our time in just to improve organizational performance. We also note, Honorable Chairperson, that we are still in recovery, and we are, as you would hear from the presentation, that in terms of our tourism numbers and also other revenue that we derive from it, there are improvements and things are going in the right direction, which would then mean that we wouldn't say we're out of the woods yet, but we are firmly on a road to recovery. With the rest of the areas or outputs and outcomes, I wouldn't want to delay the committee, and I would hand over to the CEO to do the presentation, and I will come back if there's any questions from the honorable members. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you. CEO.
Good morning, Honorable Minister, Honorable Chair, and Honorable Committee members. I will wait for the presentation to load. In the meantime, Honorable Chair, kindly give me some guidance. Would you like for me to focus only on the areas of underperformance, or for the entire presentation to be flighted or to be discussed? Honorable Chair, yes.
Jwale ka tlwaelo mme ne ke kopa re focus ko di-areas ntse red because the presentations are rona di dingata. Ke thotse le information ya hore le di-colleague tsena tsa ka tsena ho na le mo ba phuthumelang teng.
Thank you, Chair. Can I have the presentation up, please? Okay. I'll just flight it myself. Honorable Chair and honorable members. Is the presentation visible?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Thank you. I will start with the overall Q1 performance. We performed at 86% on target, with a non-performance in 14% of our targets, which is 8 out of 56 of the indicators that we had set ourselves for. As I have indicated, there is just that shortfall in terms of eight targets. We're lagging behind, particularly on outcome goal number 4, which refers to sustainable and transformed organization through revenue, people, systems, and business processes. But as I will be showing you as we go along, most of the indicators under outcome goal 4, we are confident that at the end of the financial year, we will have covered adequately. Our first area where we are off target is to do with the issue regarding the rehabilitation of degraded land. We missed our target by a relatively small margin. We had a target of 360, and we have only managed to rehabilitate 279. And a lot of that had to do with unprecedented heavy rains in Table Mountain and Agulhas. And we couldn't do any physical work in that area. But in addition to that, we dealt with a problem of engineering designs not being completed on time for us to begin the work. We have since completed the onboarding of engineers to help us with the design work, and we anticipate that this target will be achieved by the end of the financial year. The next area of non-performance is in relation to customer satisfaction index rating, where we had put a target of 0.5% improvement on our previous year. We're off target as we only improved by 0.01%. The analysis of the rating indicates to us that the rating dropped because there's a decline in what we refer to as key customer touchpoints, which include nature experience and overall experience generally. We are also very aware that in terms of overall experience, inadequate standards in hospitality service delivery, yes, are a contributor, but most specifically, we have, particularly in Kruger, aging infrastructure. And that aging infrastructure has been the source of much discontent amongst our clients. I can assure the committee that we have put resources, significant resources towards maintaining our infrastructure and have begun very high impact projects in this regard, particularly in the Kruger. And we're comfortable that within a year, as in by the end of the next calendar year, Kruger tourism products will be at a very much improved level than where we are. We will also include and continue to train our hospitality personnel on the ground to ensure that we improve customer service. The next issue where we have underperformed is related to procurement. We had set ourselves a target of contracting 15% of our goods and services, which have procured below 1 million from QSEs. But we have realized that there is a general lack of responses from QSEs, particularly QSEs in the neighboring communities, neighboring our parks. And to that extent, we have now begun conducting workshops in these communities to ensure that there is an awareness raised of procurement opportunities in our national parks. So far, we have done Kruger, Table Mountain, Garden Route, and Addo. We believe that this is going to go a long way towards assisting entrepreneurs in those areas to see the opportunities that are available in our parks and to also engage as much as they can in competitive bids. The next one is also related, and the reasons are very similar to the previous one, where we had set a target of 40% of goods and services to be procured above 1 million to come from EMEs. Very similar to the previous one, which was QSEs. We had very minimal responses to tenders above 1 million. The workshops are a major corrective action that we'll be taking as well in this regard. The next area of underperformance is the matter to do with the percentage of people employed within the organization, people of disabilities. Our target is 1.1%. We currently sit at 1% of our staff being people from the disabled community. There are a number of reasons for this. It is not the best. We can do better. What we have begun to do now is to remedy the issue of a pipeline. We do not have an existing pipeline of people with disabilities who can serve within SANParks. We're creating a CV bank, and we've partnered with institutions and universities such as TUT to help us create a suitable pipeline. We are also running awareness sessions across the organization with management to ensure that they are sensitized on the need to achieve these disability targets. We also have a challenge, a physical challenge in terms of our infrastructure in the workplace, where we have to undertake in some instances some renovations to ensure that workplace access and facilities for people living with disabilities is a matter that is dealt with. We are committed to this particular target and the objective. I can assure the committee, and we are going to do every reasonable. We're going to put in every reasonable effort to ensure that we move the numbers fairly significantly. The other area of non-performance is to do with the implementation of the internal audit plan. We had pegged 75% as our target. We only achieved 63%, which is 5 out of 8 activities. This was really just a delay due to internal administrative processes that we have since overcome, and our audits commenced in Q2. We are on track to achieve our annual target. Matured ethics management, we've so far achieved 92%, and we've missed our target by a small margin because 95% was the target. And this also was just a slight delay internally to do with, we had requested further consultation with the Ethics Institute to provide us with guidelines and best practice in applying ethics maturity within the organization. We are comfortable that we will achieve this by the end of the financial year. Then the issue of compliance monitoring, the creation of a compliance monitoring and promotion system. We're completely off target because we have not been able to make any inroads to this due to human resource constraints. We have, and it's also a financial or budgetary limitation that we had, where we have not been able to recruit somebody for the position of the policy and compliance manager. And to this end, we have actually removed this particular target, requested permission to remove it in our midterm review, as we are unlikely to fill this position in this financial year. But that said, we will continue to explore other avenues to help us in creating this system, such as sourcing external expertise, while we are addressing the issue of budgetary constraints to fill critical vacancies. I will then, Honorable Chair, hand over to the CFO to take us through the financial report as at the 30th of June 2023. CFO.
Thank you very much, CEO. Good morning, Honorable Chairperson, Honorable members, Honorable Minister, Chairpersons of entities, CEOs, and other colleagues in the platform. I will be taking you through our financial performance for the first quarter. The screen disappeared, CE. CEO, the presentation disappears from my side. Am I audible, Chairperson?
You are. Is the screen back?
Not yet.
Okay, I think we touched something that I was not supposed to have touched. There we go. Is it audible? Thank you. Sorry about that.
Now, maybe you can put it on the what's that, slideshow?
Yes, I'm trying to get into slideshow. But in the meantime, let's allow
I can continue. Thank you very much, and sorry for that technical glitch. As I said, I will be taking you through our financial performance for the first quarter, which is the period that ended 30 June 2023. SANParks has realized a surplus of 10.7 million in quarter one. Although we are pleased that our revenue exceeded our expenditure, the surplus realized is lower than what we have budgeted for, and I will explain the reasons for variance shortly. On the revenue from exchange transaction, this is the revenue generated from our operations, tourism revenue in the main. We have achieved our target, and we are also pleased that when we compare to the same period last year, from this source of revenue, we have improved by 14%, is aligned to the introductory remarks made by the chairperson and also in the CEO's presentation earlier on. And on the revenue that is generated from the non-exchange transaction, which is mainly the grant and donation income, we had an overall variance of 63%. This is quite huge. And this was affected by the infrastructure grant, which had not yet been recognized pending the fulfillment of the grant conditions. We had slight delays in this area and during the reporting quarter. However, with the interventions that we have put in place and some we still continue to put in place, we are starting to see some improvement, and we are confident that we will catch up in the subsequent period. And CE in a presentation also mentioned the fact that we have embarked on high impact infrastructure projects in our parks, particularly in Kruger. And this is linked to this grant. And then on the expenditure, we had budgeted to spend 865 million, and our spending is just under 700 million. We had a variance of 166 million, which is 19% less than the budget. And some of the main reason were attributed to the salary adjustments that were not yet effected during the first quarter. And also the issue of infrastructure spending, which is linked to maintenance and upgrading. And it's what I have mentioned earlier on when I was explaining the variances around the infrastructure grant income. Thank you very much, Chairperson and members. Okay, should I also present the procurement plan? Okay. This is just also an update on our procurement plan. The number of projects that we had. CE, I think this is the plan for the second quarter. Through your permission, Chairperson, I will propose that maybe I pause my presentation on the financial report, because I think there's a mistake on this slide. I see it reflects 30 September instead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, SANParks. Honorable members, do we want to engage the presentation of SANParks now, or do we move to other presentations?
Chair, I think it would be better for us to do it now if possible.
Sure. Let's shoot by show of hands. Can we engage SANParks, honorable members? Let me take this opportunity to welcome MEC Toto Tlapi. I am told she has joined. To welcome MEC. Okay, let's proceed. Honorable members, let's engage the presentation of South African National Parks. Honorable Bryant.
Thanks very much, Chairperson, and thank you for the presentations. Chair, just my first question is, it was mentioned by the CEO that they expect to see an improvement in the overall quality of the facilities at Kruger National Park going forward. I mean, this is something which is often coming through. People are going there, they're enjoying their time at Kruger Park, seeing the animals and all of that. But we constantly hear these comments from people who are attending Kruger, the facilities there, that things are just a little bit run down, a little bit haggard here and there. What steps are being put in place to ensure that those facilities are improved going forward? What is it that's giving the CEO hope that there is going to be that improvement? And then just secondly, this is a really big one at the moment. We've had just in the past month of October 9 incidents of quite significant crime taking place on Table Mountain. And we know crime is obviously an issue across the country, and there are definitely parts of our country where we have far more significant and higher rates of crime than on Table Mountain. but the importance of Table Mountain as a tourism hotspot, as an iconic symbol for our country, one of the natural wonders of the world, for us to be having this spike in criminal activity is obviously very concerning. I understand there was a meeting that took place last week with the community surrounding Table Mountain National Park, where they were quite upset about these instances of crime and criminality that's taking place. I know the park manager, Ms. Taplin, has said that they are going to be concentrating the limited number of rangers that they have in these hotspot areas where the crime is taking place. But, you know, I think this comes back to the same question that we've had regarding the staffing at Kruger National Park, where we have a significant shortfall there in terms of those ranger posts. Is it the same with SANParks? Are there vacancies that need to be filled? And if there aren't existing vacancies, then surely there must be a move to increase the ranger component. And we have heard previously that there are budgetary constraints, which I can understand to an extent. But it's difficult to accept that when we're seeing that there is a 103 million rand surplus on the budget sheets, on the accounting sheets coming through. And yes, some of that was mentioned to be, you know, salaries that hadn't been paid, etc. But that's still a significant amount of money. Are there planned steps being taken to prioritize some of that funding towards these important ranger posts, importantly for Table Mountain National Park at the moment, but also obviously for Kruger, where we have the ongoing issues relating to poaching? Thanks.
Thank you, Honorable Bryant. Honorable Mbata.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, SANParks. But I just want to raise the issue of, I think it's in page 37, people with disability. I think I understand that you have put, you have the corrective measures that you are going to undertake, but it's a long outstanding issue of the people with disability. And I know according to the labor department, this must be the priority of the department, of your department, and it hasn't been done for a long time. I think this is the last time that we are going to hear the non-compliance on the issue of people with disability. It's really unacceptable. Thank you.
Any further takers, honorable members, on SANParks? Okay, CEO.
May I say something, Chief, before the CEO?
Sure. Go ahead, Minister.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Chair, I just want to respond to the important issue that's been raised about crime on Table Mountain, and in particular recent armed activity that took place, that was reported in the media. I had myself and the CEO of SANParks had a meeting on Friday afternoon about this matter. And I subsequently, over the course of the weekend, spoke to my counterpart in the Western Cape. What we've agreed is that there will be an urgent meeting later this week between the CEO of SANParks, the Provincial Commissioner of Police, the City of Cape Town, and also Cape Nature, so that we can put together a task team to address this matter. I think we regard it in a serious light, in the same way as we regarded the criminal activities that were taking place outside of the Kruger Park in a very serious light, because we are aware that we are about to enter into the tourist season in December. So we should be able to appraise the committee of further developments once this meeting is taking place. But I think it's important to assure the committee and the public that we regard this issue in a very serious light, and we are moving to take steps in this matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Mbata, is that the legacy hand?
Yes, Chair. Let me lower it.
Okay. CEO?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Needless to say, regarding the issue of infrastructure, the ministry gave us an additional 700 million for infrastructure maintenance for this financial year. We have set up a task team that is led by myself that is looking specifically at very high impact projects. 42% of our infrastructure grant, as I've indicated, is allocated to tourism products. You will appreciate, Honorable Bryant, that we also have other elements of infrastructure in our parks, some of them including staff housing, that is also in dire need of repair. We also have road maintenance, amongst other things. But I can assure you that 42% of that budget is specifically ring-fenced for infrastructure. We are on a 3-year infrastructure improvement plan. And as I've indicated, we have already begun. By the end of that 3 years, we will have 70% of some of our major camps, such as Satara and Skukuza, completely refurbished. We have plans, we have people on the ground, there is work happening. As we speak, by the end of this financial year, 37 bungalows in Skukuza will be refurbished, 50 bungalows in Satara, and that is, I'm just drawing attention to some of our larger parks, which, not parks, camps, which are our major revenue generators. But there are other smaller projects in between, such as Shingwetsi, Shangoni, and so on, that we're working on. So I am very confident, Honorable Bryant, that we are going to make significant inroads in the improvement of our infrastructure, tourism infrastructure, while still also paying attention to the needs of our staff. And with regards with the matter to do with disability, as I indicated, Honorable Chair, the situation is not a satisfactory one. Even the 1.1% that we're targeting is not a reflection of the percentages of disabled people in the greater population. And we acknowledge that. We do acknowledge that we have a vast improvement to make in this regard. I indicated in passing that some of our challenges include the infrastructure setup within our parks in terms of access for people with disabilities. And this is also another matter that we've included in our infrastructure improvement project. Our operations are very difficult at best out in the bush, as you can very well imagine, number one. And secondly, we have a very limited number of functions, particularly at an operational level, not corporate level, that we can place disabled people in. And those are some of our challenges. They're not excuses. It's just challenges that I'm saying we are taking on, and we're finding the most innovative approaches to overcoming. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, CEO, Honorable Bryant.
Thanks very much, Chairperson, and thanks for the responses. And it's good to hear from the CEO the detailed information around the refurbishments of those bungalows and how that money is going to be spent. I think that's the sort of detail that is really important to feed back to the public. So thank you for that, and we also look forward to seeing those refurbishments, including the refurbishments to the staff housing, which we did see on an oversight visit back when the previous CEO was still active. So that's quite a while back. So that is good news, and thank you to the Minister for the feedback in terms of the steps that are going to be taken to address the safety and security issues on Table Mountain. There was just one question. I know the Minister did respond to the issues around Table Mountain, but there was just one question with regards to the staffing shortfall for Table Mountain. Is there currently a ranger shortfall for the mountain? Are there vacant posts? I think it's just important for us to know that as well, just for the context. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Bryant. Honorable Winkler.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to SANParks for the presentation. My question is just on the poaching statistics when it comes to rhino and other big game, and what the latest is with regard to that at the different parks under the purview of SANParks. Thank you.
Thank you, CEO.
Honorable Chair, may I just request that the last question to be repeated? I had a connection.
Thank you, Chair. So my question just revolves around what is the latest with regard to the statistics and the population management of rhino in SANParks, in our different parks. I think that we all are aware of the fact that numbers are dwindling. There are management plans in place, but I'd like to know if there have been any incidents with regard to rhino poaching, as well as any of other big game, elephants, for example. Thank you so much. I hope you got that.
Yes, I did. Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Winkler.
Okay.
Honorable Bryant, if you may allow me just to check the vacancy numbers for Table Mountain for rangers. However, in my understanding, we do not have a dire situation in terms of vacancies. As the Minister has indicated, our challenge is much bigger. With us being an urban park, or Table Mountain being an urban park, and it being susceptible to a spillover of crime from the city. As you know, Honorable Bryant, Table Mountain is massive. It is an open access park. Even if we do have a major vacancy issue, which I'm saying we do not, in my understanding, it is not entirely possible for the situation to be managed and brought to hand by SANParks rangers on their own. Hence the point that the Minister was making, that a collaborative effort at a very senior level will be required. But I am happy to come back to you with firmer numbers regarding the ranger vacancies. Honorable Winkler, let me just check something here very quickly for you so that I get the right numbers. You will recall when the Minister released the rhino poaching numbers a few months ago, I think in June or July, she indicated that there has been a significant reduction of rhinos poached in Kruger National Park. We lost 13 rhinos. And she also indicated, as she released the numbers, that there has been a shift in trends, and the trends have shifted from Kruger to KZN. So that gives you just an indication of what is happening within our region in the Kruger National Park. And there's a number of reasons that have been ascribed to this decrease. One of them that stands out being perhaps the dehorning exercise that is a constant in Kruger National Park. You are aware as well, Honorable Winkler, that we have other 6 national parks that have rhino populations. There has been 0 rhinos poached in these parks. We have an issue of you asked about other big game, elephants. Elephants, we prefer not to say poached, but that is the word that we use in our APP. We lost 1 elephant so far in this financial year. So far 3 elephants. And this is mostly due to snaring. But between Q1 and Q2, we have lost 6 elephants in total. So essentially, why I'm saying we use the word poaching, but it's not poaching in the true understanding, where it is poaching perhaps for ivory. Our elephants in the Kruger National Park tend to be victims of snaring. And I hope that answers your question, Honorable Winkler. Thank you. And we didn't have we didn't lose any other elephants in the other parks. Thank you.
Is that a follow-up, Honorable Winkler?
Yes, thank you, Chair. So just with regard to the response on the elephant, the snaring in the SANParks, what do you believe has caused this uptick in snaring? And what sort of plan are we actioning to prevent this from escalating going forward? And what interventions have been made subsequent to the 6 incidents of the elephants being caught in snares? Thank you.
Before that, CEO, can you also cover the issue of timeframes in relation to the question of Honorable Bryant? By when do you think you will come back with the numbers? I suspect he's looking for a peace job there.
Chair, can we do what we normally do, which is submit it to you in writing?
Is that acceptable, Honorable Bryant?
Yes, that's perfect. Thanks, Chair.
Good. CEO?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The issue of snaring is an issue of major concern in the Kruger. We have noted the uptick. There are speculations that there is an increase in bushmeat demand, and perhaps community members are using this opportunity to create income for themselves. There's also a belief that over and above the possibility of a game or bushmeat trade, it's what we call poaching for the pot, where people are essentially poaching the animals for consumption in domestic settings. Just last week, Honorable Winkler, we were brainstorming in SANParks about this issue and trying to find an approach and an intervention. And where we're taking it now following our brainstorming is let us engage the community, firstly to understand where this uptick is coming from, because as I indicated, we are speculating quite significantly. We are going to engage with community leaders, including the traditional leaders in communities, engage, understand the reasons, understand how we can intervene, or how we can jointly find measures of intervention in this instance, and perhaps enlarge our activities with regards to sustainable use of animals with the communities in terms of them being beneficiaries of some of our culling activities. But it is early days yet, Honorable Winkler. As I said, these are engagements I had with my colleagues just last week to say we have to rein the situation in, but to do so we need to understand the reasons and why, what is driving it. Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you, CEO. Thank you very much. I suppose that covers the CEO, the SANParks matter, and that will get those responses in writing likewise. Can I then take this opportunity to welcome officially the MEC of the Department of Economic Development, Tourism, Environment and Conservation in the Northwest. MEC Tlhapi.
Sorry, Chair. May we release SANParks?
I suspect we're done with SANParks, Minister, we may.
Thank you very much.
Did we get connection to MEC Tlhapi, Chilis?
Yes, Chair, I did
I'm here,
ask the
Chairperson.
MEC earlier.
Yes, MEC, the reason why we cannot allow South African Police Services to speak before you is because your presentation is inextricably interlinked with theirs. We therefore invite you to give an overview so that we can then go to the Tourism Board, then we get South African Police Services in one presentation. Welcome, MEC.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and good morning, Honorable Minister, honorable members, all officials in government and entities that are here. My name is Virginia Tlhapi, Chairperson, and my apologies for not joining earlier. I was in, but the network was the problem from my side. But I think let me thank you, Honorable Chairperson, and confirm that we are working hand in hand with the police. The report that they are going to present here, we are aware as the province and the entity, and I think they can present to the portfolio committee and give a progress report about what happened and where are we in terms of what happened last, Honorable Chairperson. So I confirm that as the MEC, I'm getting the reports, and I think it is against that background that they can present to the portfolio committee so that we are all aware about the progress that we have made as the province. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, MEC. The Northwest Parks and Tourism Board.
Once again, good morning, Honorable Chair, together with your esteemed portfolio committee members, to the Honorable MEC, Honorable Ministers, Chairpersons of the boards that are in this platform, and all my colleagues from all spheres of government. I am Tami Matego, responsible for Northwest Parks and Tourism Board. I will be sharing the presentation, Honorable Chair.
1 second, Matego. Honorable Bryant.
Thanks, Chair. Sorry, I'm very sorry to interrupt, Ms. Masheko. Just very quickly, I remember the last meeting we had a couple of months back, and the board was going to be present and the chairperson. And then we established quite quickly that there was no board or chairperson for the board. Is Ms. Masheko the chairperson of the board now? And is there a board in place? I assume there must be now, because I think we were told at the time that it was imminent. I just want to know who the chairperson is. Thanks.
In fact, we were told that it will take 3 months. It's been almost 4, if I'm not mistaken. Ms. Matsego, will you tackle that issue in the part of your presentation?
Okay, Chair, I will try to tackle it, Chair. Currently, I'm still the accounting authority, Chair of the Northwest Parks and Tourism Board. And as you know,
I'm not too sure if I'm the only one who's struggling to hear you.
Also struggling, Chair.
I'm not sure what's the problem. Can you hear me, Chair?
If you can come closer to the mic.
Sure. Is it better, Chair?
Much better.
Okay. All right, Chair. I was saying, Chair, Honorable Chair, that I'm still the accounting authority of the Northwest Parks and Tourism Board. As you know, as it was explained in the previous portfolio committee meeting, that Northwest Parks Board and Tourism Board merged. As they merged, there were two boards and their term of office, because their mandate was to ensure the successful merger of the two entities. The boards then, their term of office came to expiry at the end of the period of the financial year, when the new board started to exist. So currently, our mother department are very much advanced with the appointment of the new board. I'm aware that there were newspaper adverts calling for nomination of board members, and there were also advertisement of names for objections. And I am aware that they are busy working now on the last stages, which the HOD and the MEC may give us further clarity on how far are they on the last stages. But it is very much promising that maybe this year or early next year we'll be having a new board. But currently I am still the accounting authority. Coming back, may I then go to the presentation?
Okay, just the Matsego. MEC, can we invite you to quickly clarify this matter? Do you have time frames? What is the progress in relation to the board? MEC Tapi? Honorable members, may I request that we note that clarity. I'm sure the MEC as the accounting authority will be able to further clarify the matter of the board at the question and answer session. Please proceed, Member.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Chair, my understanding is that we are not going to be detailed as in the previous portfolio committee. It is just a brief summary of the background, but perhaps spend some few minutes on the progress made thus far from the board point of view. And I also want to reiterate what the MEC said, that we are working together with the police and the Hawks on this matter. And I think we are relatively satisfied with the communication between the two organs of state. Chair, as we said in the previous meeting, that we are managing 4 populations of white rhinos and 2 populations of black rhino. And we have also explained that because of natural dynamics in these populations, that is natural mortalities in fighting, horn breakages, dehorning, and so on, horns are usually collected and picked up from the field, and then they are registered and stored in terms of the national norms and standards for marking of rhinoceros and rhinoceros horns. Those the norms and standards that are of the year 2018. But due to the demand and general value of the commodity, the horns are registered and stored in a specially constructed vault at the Northwest Parks and Tourism Board in our head office here in Mafikeng in the Heritage House. And may I just add that the vault was developed because in the past we used to store our horns in the bank, but I'm told that due to exorbitant amount of money, the board was not able to cope with the expenses of keeping the horns in the bank. Hence, we decided to mimic the banks in terms of in our own backyard. Chair, it is now common knowledge to all of us that on the 26th of June 2023, at approximately 6:05, our senior manager, resource security, was informed about the illegal burglary at the Heritage House. And subsequently, Mahikem Police Station visited the scene and on the same day and processed the crime scene. And in terms of our analysis, the crime scene reveals that this was no ordinary crime. It was high-level crime, and the perpetrators were very much well informed by security measures in the premises. So there is a possibility that it might have been an internal job. And then over and above that, the camera footage, Chair, indicate that the incident lasted for approximately 1.5 hours. And the detail of this incident was presented to the Portfolio Committee that was held on the 2nd of August 2023. To date, Chair, as we presented in the previous Portfolio Committee, that we were in contact with the South African Police Services, we were successfully able to remove all the horns that were remaining in the Heritage House in our vault to our safe location. And we are pleased to say that currently there are no horns that are stored in our vault. All the security measures that were breached were restored, and the entity received a security assessment report from the State Security Agency as we collaborated with them, because as I mentioned that in the past Portfolio Committee, that as we were interviewed, one of the police members that interviewed me in particular said we are all a suspect. Then as a result, I decided that if I'm a suspect, then I cannot investigate myself. Then I took the matter to the State Security. They advised that they will not carry out the investigation because at that time the police were very much advanced with the investigation, and there were some arrests that were made. As a result, they provided us with a security assessment report, and which identified a number of areas of intervention. I will just indicate those that are okay for public consumption, which include, amongst others, the restructuring of the security division within the institution. Currently, our security our security manager was responsible for all security, be it physical security, be it wildlife resources, and they felt the state security advised that that is not the effective way of attending or addressing security measures. We need to restructure and give a total overhaul of our security division, and we need to appoint a manager responsible for information management, and they also look into our ICT. That also they find some loopholes, and they also gave us advices in that regard. Our personal security was also, we've been given some advice, guidance, and guidelines on how to address personnel security and also other personnel challenges that have been clearly identified and indicated in detail in this high security secured document that I've received from State Security. And so far, Chair, we have started with the restructuring. We've looked into our organizational structure. We've amended our structure. As I'm speaking, we are busy with the job evaluation with that is busy evaluating the new organizational structure by the Deloitte. As it may be known that we are using a permanence job grading level, and the Deloitte is the only company in the entire country that deals with permanence job grading. So they are grading those new positions. We've split wild resource security in the organizational structure from physical security. And once we receive the job evaluation process, then we can submit to the executive authority the newly revised organizational structure and request for then appointment of all the vacancies in the order of the priorities, Chair. Also, we have started with the state security. They are helping us with them. They'll be starting with new, fresh rounds of security awareness in the institution. And we are also start dealing with our ICT controls within the security, within the institution. I thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, Mayor Matsejo. Lieutenant General Libea.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson and honorable members. From the DPCI side, let me indicate that we are coming before the committee in terms of section 17 capital letter K in bracket 1 of the South African Police Service Act as amended. That particular provision provided that Parliament shall effectively oversee the functioning of the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation, including all of the committees that are established in terms of this chapter 6, capital letter A of the Police Act. In terms of the presentation, Honorable Chairperson and honorable members, Major General Mboto, who is the provincial head in the Northwest where this case is being investigated, will be doing the presentation. In the presentation, Honorable Chairperson, the members will notice that in slide 11 to slide 17, we shall have put a case that is currently pending on the Constitutional Court roll and also on the Criminal Court roll. It's just to show the time that some of these matters can take, as that particular case will reflect that it is actually as old as the DPCI itself. So with those remarks, Honorable Chairperson, I'm going to allow General Mboto to do the presentation with the understanding that this matter is pending on the court roll, and whatever we say might obviously be of interest to the accused persons when they go to defend themselves at court. Thank you very much, General Mboto. General Mboto.
Is General Mboto here?
General Mboto, are you able to hear us? Honorable Chairperson, maybe there might be a problem with regard to the connection. If that is the case, I'm going to proceed to make the presentation. And then if you get it right, you will take over. With regard to the first slide, is just to indicate, Honorable Chairperson and honorable members, the presentation outline, we talk about the mandate of the DPCI. We indicate the structure of economic protected resources and the functions. And we do the introduction as well as the purpose of this presentation. Then we touch on the status of the investigation relating to the rhino horns stolen from the Northwest stockpile facility. Then we shall hint on the constitutional court judgment in the state versus Grunewald and the 6 others which relate to this type of crime, then we shall make a conclusion. Coming to the next slide of the mandate, I'm not going to be reading this, but it's just to indicate that as the DPCI, our mandate is enshrined in Section 17D of the South African Police Service Act as amended. And in short, we deal with national priority offenses. This relates to serious corruption investigation, serious organized crime, and serious commercial crime. The crime that we are currently dealing with resort under the category of serious organized crime. That is where the when we move to the next slide, it will show that in terms of the organizational structure, which we only focus on the serious organized crime, there is a section of the economic protected resources. That particular section is the one that we will see that there are section commanders, 4 section commanders that deals with the wildlife trafficking and other commodities. So I will not deal with the other commodities, but it's just to show how we are structured. So all these commodities require the necessary attention of the serious organized crime. So in respect of this crime, it results under the first block that is seen there in green. That is the section Commander Wildlife Trafficking. So the work that they are doing is reflected there in terms of those acts and the like. But I will not be reading those. It's just to show that we follow the provisions of the law and the specific sections. Coming to the next slide of the introduction is just to indicate, as I've said, that we are focusing on national priority offenses. This particular word has been described and defined in the Police Act. So I will not elaborate on that, but otherwise, when it comes to the prevention and combating of wildlife trafficking, it is our mandate that we do it in terms of strategy that will be seen as national integrated strategies to combat wildlife trafficking. There is specific section in the Constitution that require that we need to ensure that the right to protect the environment is catered for because it will benefit the future generation. Coming to the next introductory is just to show the landscape of South Africa, that South Africa is actually considered to be one of the most biological diverse countries in the world. And unfortunately, this type of resources that we are having, the natural ones, attract also criminal activities. Unscrupulous people will obviously be targeting our wildlife species for the purpose of financial gain. So that is actually what attracts criminal organizations. Some of these do this for the purpose of illicit transnational trade in wildlife. Moving to the next slide is just a summary of the types of cases, the number of cases that we are currently having on the court roll. And one can also see the provinces in terms of those that are having more cases on the court roll as compared to others. One can see that the province that we are currently dealing with, the Northwest, have got 12 cases on the court roll. In total, when we add all of the provinces, we have got 78 cases on the court roll. And the one that is leading is the Mpumalanga, followed by Gauteng. When we talk about cases, we are not necessarily referring to the number of individuals in these cases, we talk about a case. In a case, most of our matters have got more than one accused persons. And I think we have hinted in the past where we say 19 accused persons are being charged in one case. So even the decided case that we are citing below, one can see that there is more than one accused person. So just on this slide, we just indicate the number of cases that we are currently having on the court roll. That of the Northwest will be counted among these 12. Moving to the next slide, is the purpose of the presentation is just to update the portfolio committee as required with regard to theft of the 51 stolen rhino horn stockpiles in the Northwest. Some of the offenses that we are looking at is housebreaking and theft. As we have indicated, new charges will be added whenever the investigation unearth those. So we will not be dealing with this in detail, Honorable Chairperson. We have reached a sensitive stage of the investigation where we have got to be careful how we present in the public arena. But otherwise, the work is continuing. Coming to the status of the case, which is in slide number 9, in this one, we just indicate, it will be seen on the left-hand side, we are talking about the case number that we are dealing with, and thereafter the offenses that we are currently working on, and the date on which the matter was reported, which is the 26th of June, 2023, and the amount of money that has been lost in this regard, which is 9 million, and the individuals that are obviously part of the charge sheet. Obviously, there are developments in this regard. And the number of statements that have been filed in the docket, as one can see that already 40 statements have been filed. I will not read the nitty-gritties as we shall have presented this information in the past with regard to the synopsis of the case, but the details are included in the slide. Coming to the next slide here is just the current status. As I have indicated, we protect some of the information that we are currently handling. Safe to say that the following 6 vehicles were confiscated during the investigation and were referred to the asset forfeiture unit of the National Prosecuting Authority. Normally, this part of the work is called the civil proceedings, but while we are dealing with criminal proceedings, the assets that might be instrumentalities that were used in the commission of crime, or the proceeds, possible proceeds of the crime, are dealt with in a civil court, which is why the National Prosecuting Authority, with its asset forfeiture unit, will be looking at this. So the case itself appeared at court on the 19th of October for bail application on new facts that were provided by accused number 1, and the case was postponed to the 3rd of November for further bail application and judgment. So I think that in this regard, the investigation team can update. That is the time when we finalize the submission of the report. So what is outstanding is that there is certain investigation that is ongoing, which is critical. And we do this in collaboration with the National Prosecuting Authority, which guides as to whether they are happy with what we have and the next step that we will be taking. Otherwise, the rhino horns themselves have not yet been recovered. So in the next slide that I have indicated, Honorable Chairperson, from slide number 11 up to slide number 17, this one is just an insight into a constitutional court matter in the state versus Grunewald and the 6 others. So as I've indicated, we know our cases, we normally have got more than one accused persons. In this regard, we just point the challenges at time that we have with regard to this type of cases. As one can see on this case, which I will not be dealing with it slide by slide, but one can see that from 2008, various aspects of the operations were taking place on illegal activities regarding to rhino poaching. Obviously, it's not only the rhinos, but inclusive of the elephant tusk and the leopards, skulls and skins. So that is the nature of the case that we were dealing with. When one look at the next slide, we will just be showing that what the operation focused on, which I will not be reading on that. The next slide obviously will indicate that part of the crimes that we look at is a pattern of racketeering activity. That is what in general language we call it organized crime. Because when you charge individual, you don't say that I'm charging you with the crime of organized crime. We prosecute them in terms of a pattern of racketeering activities. That is what is generally called organized crime. One can see the number of charges that we put on this individual, 1,840. So we will say one case, but hidden inside that case is a lot of work that is being done, a number of charges that have to be investigated for the purpose of proving safe. The next slide is just to show the history that this matter have never escaped the court roll. It has been sitting there, but obviously different challenges that in, but as a result of this, we end up having more workload on hand that remain on the court roll. As we see it, we have got more than 11,000 accused persons that are currently serving before the various courts in the country. Coming to now, concluding slide number 18, wildlife trafficking is not purely a conservation or an environmental matter problem, but constitute a highly sophisticated form of serious transnational organized crime. And this, among others, constitute a threat to national security. Protecting our invaluable indigenous species is a full-time and very expensive undertaking that also entails a focused effort to combat corruption, without which criminal syndicate will not be able to operate as effectively as they do. So the DPCI's integrated and multidisciplinary strategy to combat wildlife trafficking is aligned to the government's objective of securing the sustainable growth and the development of South African economy, including combating corruption and the protection of strategic risk and the combating of illicit economy. Combating efforts can only succeed if it is addressed in an integrated approach through partnership at national, provincial, and international level. The DPCI remains committed to a task at hand. In conclusion, let me say that the DPCI shall at all times enforce the law of the Republic without fear, favor, or prejudice, and as the circumstances of any particular case may require, in accordance with the Constitution and the law. I thank you.
Honorable members, that is the report from the Northwest Parks and Tourism Board, the status of the case on the stockpile theft in the Northwest. and the office of the MEC. Let me request honorable members to engage the report. Honorable Weber, you'll be followed by Honorable Bryant, then followed by Honorable Winkler.
Thank you, Chairperson. Please forgive me for not switching on my camera. Colleagues, I'm in general just going to address a couple of things, and I firstly want to thank Dr. Lebeya for the presentation and the things he said, but I have some serious queries here, and this is specific. I don't want information on the case, I have that, but there is a concern with this rhino cases. For instance, the last, on slide 14, 15, you use the Groenewald case. Now, Groenewald was set out on bail in 2010 already. That case only came through in 2018, 2019. That is 8 to 9 years later. He was set out for bail for 1 million rand. He was in 2022 caught again with rhino horns. That means he was in violation of his bail. And yet again, he got out on bail for 50,000 rand. So my question just to that is that how serious are we really? I know the people that really involved in combating this really fights for it. But I find that in our court system, that court case is still ongoing. It started in 2010. It is not finalized. There's many people involved in it, but it took 8 years before it first came to it. And your serial offenders, they keep on getting bail. I mean, my understanding of bail is if you left out and you violate it, you actually go to jail until the court case. So why is it taking so long? And I am concerned about it because it does seem that things might not be as serious, and I don't think it's you, the hawks and everything. I just think the courts and everyone take their time, and that leaves people outside for committing and keep on going and doing these crimes. Then I would like to know, when right in the beginning, I think it was slide 2 or 3, you spoke about the horns when they're fighting and you pick them up and you basically register it and they store them. My question to you is, my understanding is that all rhinos get chipped, and do you use, especially in the Northwest, have you made use of Rhodas, of the DNA and sending things there? Is Rhodas still active, and are you guys using them to register and to store that? And has the chips of the rhino horns that you stored actually been there still? Could you use them, or have they just disintegrated? Because that's something they say that happens with the chips. Thank you very much.
Honorable Bryant.
Thanks very much, Chairperson. Chair, I just want to say again, and I think it's important for us to reiterate this, the fact that there is still no sitting board in place, and this is only anticipated to be in place potentially next year, is just completely unacceptable. I've gone back and looked at the annual report from Northwest Parks Board now, 2022-23. And in that, they say exactly the same thing that's been said now, that this is at an advanced stage and the board will be put in place soon. And, you know, one of the problems with not having a board is a lack of oversight. And especially for a state-owned entity that is accountable to the public. Sorry, Dr. Lebeya is on the microphone.
Please hold on. Please hold on, Honorable Bryant. Dr. Lebeya, may I request that you mute your mic? Thank you. Please proceed, Honorable Bryant.
Thank you, Chair. For a state-owned entity, effectively, that is being funded by public funds and is accountable to the public, in particular the people of Northwest, to have no board to conduct oversight is one of the reasons why we end up with situations like this in the first place. And I also find it completely unacceptable that there's no proper internal investigation that's taken place. The reasons that were given, that the accounting officer can't investigate themselves, quite frankly, that's a load of nonsense. You can put an outside contractor or outsource that responsibility to somebody else or a different entity to come and conduct that investigation. And the fact that there's appears to be zero consequence management now taking place in terms of the management of that facility just seems completely ludicrous. We've heard in the first presentation that we had, the first time we had this meeting, that there were a number of significant irregularities that came out just during the presentation. And the fact that none of those seem to be being addressed internally is a serious concern. And, I would strongly urge the MEC, if possible, to intervene and ensure that an outside body or person be brought in to conduct an internal investigation within Northwest. It doesn't have to be a criminal investigation. These are two separate matters. Secondly, just to the hawks, the postponement of that case that was, you said it was postponed till the 3rd of November. What happened on the 3rd of November? What happened at that particular hearing? Didn't get any feedback on that one. And then has there been, without asking specifics about the case, because I totally appreciate the sensitivity around this, and we want to make sure that all efforts are made so that those involved are properly prosecuted. But has there been any indication yet of involvement of anybody from Northwest Parks Board? Because if not, then that should indicate that there's no reason not to continue with that internal investigation as soon as possible. Nevertheless, that internal investigation will still be taking place. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Bryant. Honourable Winkler.
Thank you to the Chair and to the presenters. I think that what this case has shown, and the fact that there was a preceding case where now the individuals involved in this theft of the horns have been associated with another person who's on the court roll, is an indictment on the entire system when it comes to prosecuting matters relating to environmental justice and wildlife trafficking. I think it definitely points to a lack of capacity and broader issues in terms of legislation. So I would like to know what does the department, as well as the presenters, do they think about the impediments that stand in the way of successful prosecutions and that are contributing to the fact that these cases get rolled over for years, they aren't successfully prosecuted,
now we have
repeat offences by individuals that have been previously implicated. And as I said, I think this speaks to a broader issue of a crisis that we have in, I think, our courts, and also with regard to, I think, evidence and the skills that are required to successfully prosecute. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Winkler. MEC, I want to invite you to clarify the issue of the board. By when can we at least expect a fully fledged functional board? Secondly, Major General, Lieutenant General Lebeya, the status of the report, I think Honorable Bryant partially touched it, the status of the case. In your presentation, you are saying that on the 3rd, there was an appearance of the suspect, I want to believe. Do you want to take the committee through on what might have transpired on the 3rd of November, which is about 3 days ago? I don't think we are conversant with what happened today. Let me start with the MEC. MEC? MEC Tlapi. Chilega is is MEC here?
Let me check, Chair.
Yes, she's here. MEC, are you following the proceedings? Honorable Winkler, is that an old hand?
Sorry, Chair, yes, it is.
Okay. MEC Tlapi?
Let me check with her office, Chair.
Please check with the Lieutenant General Bear.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. General Mboto will deal with the specifics, the details of the case and the remand. What I needed to be touching on is with regard to the question by Honorable Weber on the bail of regarding the case that we have presented here of Groenewald and others. Why taking so long? And the issue of the chipping and the DNA and the RODAS. Indeed, the issue of bail is what we always oppose. But as it will be understood that after the two sides, the state and the defense have argued their matters, the bench has got the final say. And in this regard, obviously, it has been given in favor of the accused. And then if one was not given a bail, it would mean that for all the time one shall have been sitting in the facilities when one is actually not yet been found guilty and is not serving any sentence. So that becomes the jurisdiction of the presiding officer. But us, we always stand forward and oppose. Why the matters are taking too long, as one will observe, there is always a challenge. The defense, at times, one might want to observe that they don't really want to see their day in court. There will be several applications that are being put forward. And this thing of going up to the Constitutional Court are the ones that delay the finalization of the matter. So the matter can't be finalized in criminal court until those constitutional questions have been sorted out. So that's why it is taking this long. From our side, we would have loved a situation where these matters can be quickly finalized so that we are not continuously carrying these cases on hand. With regard to the issue of the chips and the DNA and the RODAS, without making the criminals wise, we always look at that it is still being applied. And then we always look at that as part of the investigation process that we do. The issue of the DNA we always do. And then the RODAS is still being utilized. And if we were to find these rhino horns, they were supposed to be taken through the processes. Obviously, one is hoping that we find them. If not, it means that we will be relying on other evidence. So I will leave the issue of the status of the case to Major General Mboto, who is now locked with another gadget, as the previous gadget gave him challenges. General Mboto.
Good morning to the Honorable Chair. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. May I greet the Honorable Chair, the Honorable members, the MAC, the Minister, if she's still on the platform, my senior colleagues and other colleagues on the platform. Honorable Chair, may I respond to the issue of the remand of the case? Our matter was remanded to the 3rd, which was on Friday, for a bail application. And that bail application is continuing again on the 9th of November still. And from there, we'll then get a future date. The other concern by one of the honorable members was with regard to the possible suspects that have been identified. Honorable Chair, we want to assure you that we are leaving no stone unturned, and we have identified certain individuals who are subject of our investigation as we speak, and progress will be reported when it happens. Thank you so much, Chair.
Are there follow-ups, honorable members? The Honorable Brian.
Thanks, Chair. I think in the absence of the MEC, your and my questions weren't unfortunately addressed. So perhaps the accounting officer could answer in terms of why an internal investigation wasn't outsourced to somebody else to carry out, and your question in terms of the exact timeframes and when we're going to see that board in place. I don't know, maybe the MEC is back on, but I think these are very important questions that need to be answered.
Chileka, where is the MEC?
The official said, Chair, she will call MEC.
Yeah, I see the MEC is still on the platform. It is
Yes,
unacceptable that she's on the platform and she can't respond. It tells us that she's busy with something else.
Yes,
we
Chair.
we take serious exception to that. Honorable Winkler.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to follow up on a comment that was made by one of the previous respondents. When I queried why there was such a delay in the prosecution of Groenewald, they said that there had been referral to the Constitutional Court. Could I just get some clarity on why this was referred to the Constitutional Court, and what constitutional questions need to be resolved before this can be pursued? Thank you.
Are we winning with the MEC?
They're going to give me a number, Chair, so that I can call MEC.
Who are you speaking to, Chileka? Maybe we must call the MEC ourselves. We want answers here.
An official from her office. I will share the number with you on WhatsApp, Chair.
Lieutenant General Dr. Advocate Libea, in the meantime.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. With regard to the reasons why the matter was sent to the Constitutional Court, is the accused person is challenging the constitutionality of being prosecuted. So it's challenging the constitutionality of the under which the charges have been put before the accused person. So that is why, before that question is answered on the constitutionality of the charges, the criminal court will not be able to proceed. So that is the question that the constitutional court need to answer. So in this one, we just put it for the purpose of showing the challenge that these matters are not actually being finalized timeously, which increase the workload. So that is the reason why it has to go to the Constitutional Court before the trial can start in the High Court in Limpopo. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Please, thank you. Honorable members, I just spoke to the MEC. She is trying to connect with the other gadget. Apparently, this gadget is giving her problems. I just told her unequivocally that it cannot be that she's in a meeting and she does not respond to the questions. I don't know if you want to give her 1 second to reconnect and help us with the responses. Honorable Bryant.
Thanks, Chair. I just wonder maybe if in the interim the accounting officer could shed some light maybe on some of the questions raised. I don't know. Up to you, Chair.
Mematsego, are you able to assist us with responses in the meantime whilst we are waiting for the MEC?
The MEC has joined,
Yes.
Chair.
MEC Tlapi?
She has joined, Chair.
Okay, Mematsego, we know your connection is stable. Can you attempt to respond?
Okay, thank you, Chair. You know, this case is a bit complicated. When the incident happened, as I explained, we requested the state security to conduct an internal investigation. And then the state security advised us, no, they'll do as an assessment, because at that time it looked like the hawks are very much ahead with the case. And as I said in my presentation, I'm not sure to what extent should I reveal what, but I need to explain how did I come to this, or you know, how did I come to this judgment call? Is that then in the interim, as we were talking with different state securities and agencies on what next to be done, it came out that
Chairperson, am I audible?
Yes, MEC, welcome. We will give you an opportunity. You are now audible.
Okay. It came out that there's a strong suspicion that there may be some internal hand that is part of this whole problem. Then we're given names, and it looked like very soon there will be arrest on the internal investigation on that matter from the security agencies. Then that's why when we decided not to continue with the internal investigation, because we thought that we'll get big arrest from some of us internally. But it looked like there were some complication along the way with the investigation that is never happened. So that what might have delayed. But then I take the advice that nevertheless, then let us continue with our own internal investigation and not rely on either state security or the hawks to help us in that regard. So we'll do that, but we were delayed by the fact that, or we sidetracked by the fact that we thought that by now, those who have been suspected internally would have been arrested, because we fairly know, or we have a fair understanding on what might have happened internally. So we thought by now we'll be having arrest. Thank you, Chair.
Look, the concerns of the committee are that whilst we appreciate the case that has been cited by Lieutenant General Lebea of the Constitutional Court versus Groenewald and others, we want to understand, firstly, we want to create an impression that and an understanding of the sensitivity and the agency of this case. That's one. Two, it cannot be that we just leave everything else in the hands of the Directorate of Special Investigations, Crime Investigations. And I saw the MEC is back. Some of the issues relate that we would want you to speak to, Honorable Kapi. Key issue, the case that there was an appearance on the 3rd of November. Has your office received a report on what transpired there? And I don't see us going forward. It would seem we're rounding in circles. I'm not getting a clear understanding on the progress on the investigation, the arrests, the recovery of the rhino horns, and all of that. Okay, can we get a sense? Honorable Kapi? MEC Kapi? Honorable Brian?
Thanks, Chair. And this really is just, I think, getting a bit ridiculous now in terms of the connectivity issues. And I think it must be quite embarrassing for members of the public to have to watch this, especially people living in the Northwest. But anyway, Chair, I think just going back to Ms. Mashego's point, and I think you covered it quite succinctly. There may be other issues at play here that aren't necessarily criminal matters, issues relating to possible negligence and administrative issues, and an investigation to try and pinpoint and say, what can we do from an organizational perspective to ensure this doesn't happen again. Not just how many cameras need to be put up outside and all of that, the security issues. But I think Ms. Mashego has acknowledged that, and I'm glad that they will be looking into putting that internal investigation in place. I think the one question that is still outstanding is the one in terms of when the board will be up and running, so that proper oversight can start to be conducted. And I think that's a question that hasn't been answered yet. But I'm also cognizant of time and having to ask the same question over and over again without an answer.
Yeah, I hear you, Honorable Brian. Honorable Weber?
Chair, due to, the strange circumstances we're in, if the MMC cannot respond or don't have sound, can we maybe ask that, since the answer should be with her, that she can reply by tomorrow, so in written, basically on the board as well as on the case of 3 November in writing to the committee? That's just a proposal from my side.
Can you try again? Honorable MEC Kapi?
Chair, the office has requested that she's going to connect with another device. So I'm sharing the link to that new device that she'll be using. Just a minute, ne?
We will give them a minute and resolve that they must come to Cape Town so that we don't have connectivity problems. All the stakeholders that are here will have to come to Cape Town so that we get answers. Anyway, we still have an outstanding arrangement of arriving in Mafikeng. I'm sure honorable members would remember the resolution of the previous portfolio committee wherein we were talking about this thing. We will have to go to Mafikeng. But for connectivity issues, if they persist, all the stakeholders that are here will have to arrive in Cape Town. Is she connected?
Not yet, Chair. Okay, yeah, she's on the waiting room now. I'm accepting her, Chair. Yeah, she has joined.
So, Methabi,
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I've been struggling to hear. Can you please help me with the question so that I can respond? I've joined with another gadget.
there are quite many.
Okay.
Those that I can remember, one is the case, the Directorate of Special Investigation, Barry, the case was heard on the 3rd of November. We're not sure if you have received a report in that regard, what has happened. When is the board being appointed so that they can put their hands in the jar and deal with this matter with the agency deserve, and that there is sufficient accountability from people who are given the responsibility. 2, 3, perhaps let's just add, how often do you get reports in relation to this case, given its sensitivity and its agency? Lastly, why isn't there an internal investigation that has been conducted? Over to you, MEC. I'm not too. Before you come, MEC, honorable members, is there anything I might have left?
I think you've covered it, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Bryant. Itla, MEC.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and my apologies for the fourth industrial revolution issue. I've been looking at your mouth. I saw that people were talking, but I was struggling to hear. So it's the issue of the 4IR. We will continue to deal with it. But safe to say, I've joined with another gadget, Chairperson and honorable members. Indeed, there was a case on the 3rd of November. But I'm still waiting for the report from the HOD, because I said the HOD must write to the NTD to request that report. So I'm not yet in a position of the report of the 3rd November, but I will make sure that I get that report so that I can even send it to you, Chairperson and honorable members, about what happened and what transpired at court. The issue of the board, like I promised last time, that the board will be appointed before the end of December, Honorable Chairperson. It will be appointed. We are at the stage that we can now appoint. We have followed all the necessary protocols, and the Gazette was closed last month. So we will be appointing in due course. And I said before the end of December, we will be having a substantive board of Northwest Parks and Tourism Board. The issue on how often do I get the report? Monthly, I get the report from the parks. So I will also make sure that I follow the issue, so that maybe I will change how they report to say, maybe let me get the report in 2 weeks' time, so that we can at least deal with the matter. But I think after appointment of the board, we will be having a fast progressing, so that we can at least deal with the matter at hand fast. So I will be, Chairperson, making the follow-up on the issue. I will request that on the issue of the internal investigation, Chairperson, let me not respond it here now, but I will then write to the NTT to give me the report as to why they did not do any internal investigations. So let me not report here, because I'm of the view that they could have started with the internal investigations to my knowledge, but I will just check with the acting CEO why they didn't follow that internal investigation, so that we can get all the information from both sides. Thanks, Chairperson. I think those are the 4 questions that you have requested me to. Thank you, Chairperson and honorable members.
Okay. Me Tlapi, re batla internal investigation. We appreciate, we are not even underscoring the work that is done by the Hawks and all other stakeholders, but we want an internal investigation. And please, I hope next time when we meet, there will be a board there. But I think it should be a resolution of this meeting that so that we are not compromised by the fourth industrial revolution. You should be on idle together with the Walks and the Northwest Parks and Tourism Board. We will arrive in Mafikeng unannounced as soon as we can, or you will arrive in Cape Town. I think, honorable members, I want to lobby you that we should resolve like that. Are we agreeable?
Yes, Chair.
Great.
Agreed. Thank you, Honorable Bryant. Thank you, Honorable Tunu. Does that bring us to the end of the presentation by the Department of Economic Development, the Northwest Parks and Tourism Board, and the South African Police Services? Okay. Take it, silence means consent.
Sorry, Chair, just very quickly. There was one other question that I think you'd also raised, just remembered now, which was, have any of the horns been recovered? I mean, I don't know whether that's sensitive or not, but I don't see why it would be. But just a yes or no answer. Have any of the horns been recovered?
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. When I was making the presentation, I have indicated that the horns have not yet been recovered. So the horns have not yet been recovered. Thank you.
All of them, nothing?
Nothing. Nothing.
But to Babar Batwering about we next.
That is the sensitive area that we are working on, and I think that also the department shall have hinted on some of the things that from our side we want to be saying it when it has happened, not what we are planning to be doing. I think that if we can be allowed to finalize that, because the NPA is also advising us on what will be the best next step to be taken. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, MEC Tlapi, the South African Police Services and the Northwest Parks and Tourism Board. Thank you very much. We will do a follow-up. I'm sure we all have interest in the developments in this case. We are looking at it with the eyes of the Hawks. We shall continue to engage with your good self to get progress on how far we are making. Honorable members, can we then move to the briefing by our own entity, Isimangaliso Wetland Park Authority, on their first quarter report 2023-2024 financial year. Minister?
Can we go, Honorable Chair?
Yes, MEC, you are released. Please sort out the gadgets in future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, I will.
Minister Barbara.
The police, are we also released, Honorable Chair?
You are released.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson and honorable members.
Thank you very much, Chair, and greetings once again to the committee. I'm I'm just checking whether Nkosi Tembe is in the meeting on behalf of the board. I haven't seen him.
Yes, Minister, I'm here.
Oh, all right. Over to you, sir, to introduce the first quarter report.
Thank you very much, Minister, for introducing us. A very special greeting to the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, honorable members of the Portfolio Committee. Minister just recently introduced us, Deputy Minister in her absentia, fellow board members, chairperson from different entities, Director General in her absentia, executive officers present in the meeting, and the entire officials present in the meeting. Thank you once again, Chairperson, for affording an opportunity to present as Isimangaliso. We are here today as Isimangaliso Wetland Park Authority to present the 2023-2024 Quarter 1 Performance Report. The entity had planned 44 output indicators for the first quarter and achieved 41, of which it translated as 93% achieved. I am here to report that the entity has concluded the specialist studies, and a report is being analyzed by the expert as part of the maintenance of the Umfolozi and Umsunduzi River in a request to implement the panel of experts. Recommended report in St. Lucia estuary. A socio-economic study.
Nkosi Tembe?
Yes, Chairperson.
Please forgive me. Can you just come closer to the mic? It's a bit difficult to hear you.
Oh, sorry about that, Chairperson. I think you
No
did
problem.
hear the part of it. A socio-economic study is currently underway to alternative options for community members who dependent on the Umfolozi system floodplain for their livelihoods. A service provider has been appointed to undertake a survey of the lower Umfolozi catchment, looking into the following survey: vegetation, sedimentation, agriculture, sustainable livelihood, chemical content, sampling and land audit for the entire catchment, and not just the lower Umfolozi and Umsunduzi basic assessment area. I think after I've touched base to the issues that it will be more detailed on the report of the CEO, I will then let the CEO lead with the presentation. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Siyabonga Nkosi Tembe. Mr. CEO.
Thank you, Chairperson, and greetings to yourself, honorable members of the Portfolio Committee, our Minister present, chairpersons of the boards of different entities present, colleagues in our meeting. A very good morning to all of you. Thank you very much, Chairperson, for the opportunity, and thank you, Chairperson, for the opening remarks. Chairperson, as our board chairperson has already alluded to the fact that our performance, as mentioned, is sitting at 93%. We had planned 44 targets, and out of those, we managed to achieve 41, meaning that only 3 targets were not achieved. Otherwise, the performance was at that peak. So the targets that were really not achieved.
Breaking transition, CEO.
Okay, can you hear me now? Am I audible now? Am I audible now?
You are audible.
We can hear you.
Okay,
I think the problem is there's no presentation up on the screen.
Yes, we've been
CEO?
thank you, Minister. We've been disabled. Can we get Buisa to flight our presentation, because we wanted to share ourselves, but we can't. All right. Thank you. Can we go on a slideshow, Luisa? Okay. Okay. Thank you, Chairperson. I was explaining that we are sitting at 93% in terms of our performance for the first quarter that we're presenting today. We had planned 44 targets and we managed to achieve 41, meaning that only 3 targets were not achieved. And the areas where targets were not achieved is corporate support program, as well as the tourism business and development. Under corporate support is the ICT governance framework. Because we've now finished our 5 years, we are reworking on our strategy and we are revamping the strategy completely. And that has delayed us a little bit there. And that is what caused this delay in this particular quarter. But I can assure this portfolio committee that by the second quarter, as you will see the report indicating significant improvement in this area. Under tourism and commercialization strategy, we wanted to report that at the time of reporting, there were delays in this action plan, but mainly because we wanted to score a little bit more in terms of the concessions. Because remember, one of the reasons why we are taking this approach is so that we can enhance our revenue that we generate as a park. So we wanted to negotiate so that we can get as much as possible as an entity. And I am happy to report that all that process has now been finalized, with 32.2% being allocated to local stakeholders, meaning people living around or inside the park. They have benefited, and which has really contributed into the transformative agenda in the tourism sector in our case. And I must say, Chairperson, that because of this additional gesture from our side, we are once again reassured of the continued existence of this park, because there is the relevance of this park that is continuously being demonstrated to people living in as well as around this park, in this case through participating in the economy of the park. Revenue to the park in the first quarter, as you know, we were blessed with rains, very heavy rains. Unfortunately, they damaged a lot of our infrastructure in the roads, and it was very difficult for our visitors to access the park. I can safely say that some of the areas, because we are largely a wetland, a Ramsar site, were highly inaccessible. And this really, unfortunately, compromised us in terms of the revenue that we generated during that quarter. However, as I say, you will see that there is an improvement when we report in the second quarter. You will realize that there was an exceeding. In fact, we exceeded our planned target in the second quarter in terms of the revenue that we have generated. This is largely due to a lot of bird species that have come back to the park because of the wetlands, water that is there, and the manner in which conservation is managed effectively in the park. The chairperson touched on areas. So those were mainly the issues of non-achievement, chairperson. Otherwise, the rest has been achieved as I have indicated. And we're doing our level best, as I explained earlier on, that what we do is not an issue of a target achieved, but we also try and see what is the impact of what we are doing as we implement these targets. Chairperson, the other issue, which is a matter of interest, if I may, is the implementation of the panel recommendations that were tabled here in this committee. wherein we had to talk to the issue of what are we doing to address the issue of the backflooding that is caused by Umsunduzi and the main catchment, which is Imfolozi, to the commercial and subsistence farmers of Sokulu, Dugu, Zwenelisha in the St. Lucia area. You will recall, Chairperson, that there was a submission of Section 30A, and the response from the department was that we must do either the basic assessment report or go a route of an EIA. But when we looked at the processes, the basic assessment was a route that we preferred to follow. 4 studies were recommended there: sedimentologist, the vegetation specialist, the hydrologist, and the social scientist. What we've done, Chairperson and members, is that we've cast our net wider and brought in a plethora of specialists who would then make sure that all other issues are covered, so that our adaptive management decision will be based on scientific studies and evidence that will be before us. So what we have gathered is sedimentologists, the geomorphologists, because we want to understand the geology and the impact of that geology with the water that is there, the vegetation specialists because of the buffalo grass that is there, hydrologists, the social scientists to deal with the social aspects because this was outstanding in the previous scientific reports, the marine and the aquatic specialists to deal with the marine species and all other aquatic species. And I am happy, Chairperson, to report to this committee that our specialists have gathered all the data, and as we speak, they are finalizing the data analysis, and we will be submitting in November for the basic assessment process. And we are hoping that it will be attended to, and this matter will get the attention it deserves as we have pledged. What is more interesting, Chairperson, here, I must say, is that this is no longer done by Isimangaliso. It is done by Isimangaliso and all stakeholders. We are working together. We keep each other informed. So there is no longer an issue of us and them in as far as this matter is concerned. It's all our issue. It's our issue, all of us, and we are dealing with it collectively. And just to also report another issue is we promised, Chairperson, that in the 2022-23 we will clear the Kesorin, which is there. And I'm happy to report that 1,274.4 hectares has been cleared. And in the 23-24 financial year, between April and September, we have cleared 355.82. I must say that the issue of the inundation of water, the crocodiles and hippos still continue to be an issue, but we are doing our best, as you can see the numbers that I am reporting. On top of that, Chairperson, there is something called an estuary maintenance and management plan that we promised or that we pledged that we'll be working on. We appointed the service providers in January, and I'm happy also to report that we have worked on that process today as we speak. There is a consultation process with the small-scale fisheries on that maintenance management plan. What it looks at, Chairperson, it further amplifies some of the recommendations that were made by the panel of recommendations, where in the symposium, it came out that we need to be looking at the adaptive management strategy, because the system, as it is, it does demonstrate that it will require that there is human intervention, because the expectation of it operating naturally as it used to be many years ago is going to be something that may not be a possibility, looking at what has happened and what is currently happening in the system. So the adaptive the estuary maintenance and management plan will make sure that as and when there are issues that require us to intervene to assist the system, we will do so. But this time around, we will be backed by the scientific justification because of the report that I presented to you. That's why we cast our net wider to make sure that we cover all those issues. The other issue, Chairperson, I am also happy to report to you that we're busy with finishing our offices now, and all is done. We're hoping that maybe next time you will come as the portfolio and hold the meeting here and see how beautiful these offices are. But we're done with that, Chairperson. And in the process of that, the issue of the SMME has also been covered. We've seen most people moving from grade 1s to grade 3s because of the local content procurement aspect. And that has really helped a lot of people from a business side. On the issue of the due diligence, Chairperson, I must also indicate, you will recall that we have that issue of us taking over from Isimangaliso, especially the commercial facilities. We have now engaged, we engaged the services of an external legal person who has really looked into the contract just to make sure that we cross all the dots to make sure that we don't inherit unnecessary liabilities or issues that Isimangaliso KZN Wildlife was involved in. So that has now been finalized, and we will be now submitting to the department so that the matter is put to rest and we can start seeing a process of taking over and implementing basically this issue of the commercialization as we indicated. I must also, Chairperson, indicate that because of this situation of us taking over and the discussions around that, we have seen that KZN Wildlife or Isimangaliso KZN Wildlife, unfortunately, they, as we have always known, have sort of abdicated their responsibility in terms of renovating or upgrading the facilities. And it is for that reason that from time to time you will hear our visitors complaining about certain things, but we have a plan in place wherein we have developed an infrastructure maintenance plan where we try to identify the status of all the infrastructure. But in as far as the facilities are concerned, we want to transfer that responsibility and risk to the private investors so that when they come in, it would be a product which will be able to appeal to their target market, as it were. On the issue of the rhino poaching, Chairperson, once again, because of the improved relationship with the neighboring communities, the status is still the same as reported before. We've never had one rhino poached, but the issue of communities working with us on a number of projects, fence, alien vegetation, and so on, does really contribute in making sure that we remain in this status despite the country being in this problem in rhino poaching. So for us, fortunately, we don't have that. Yes, the issue of the poaching in terms of the snaring, it is there. Chairperson, you will recall that we, on the 13th of September, there was a request that we provide written responses on small antelopes that are being snared, mainly in Mkuze area. And that's the area where we are focusing in terms of building the relationship with those communities. It's a historic situation, but if you look at the numbers, they are showing signs of decrease. And traditional leaders in the form of Amakosi, Izinduna, and the community at large are now understanding why we should protect and not support initiatives of this nature of snaring and many other issues that are compromising our parks. So that is where we are, Chairperson, in terms of issues of interest that I thought it will be ideal that we share with you as this portfolio committee. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Siyabonga, Mr. CEO, honorable members. It's not stockpiles. Honorable Winkler.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the presentation. I just have a few questions. I'm not sure if I missed this, but what is the status of the intervention with the farming communities that suffered severe flooding? And I know that the minister had intervened, so I just want to know what is the latest with regard to that. Then there were allegations of significant sewage overspill into Isimangaliso. I'd just like to know if that is indeed true and what the current status of that is. Then with regard to the transfer of commercial facilities from Ezemvelo to Isimangaliso, which facilities are these, please? And does this also include the crocodile park that is next to Isimangaliso? I think it was under the jurisdiction of Ezemvelo, but the last time I visited there, the state of that crocodile park was quite dilapidated, and the animals didn't look in the best state. So I just like to know if there are any plans afoot to upgrade those facilities, and also about the welfare of those animals. Then with regard to the rhino poaching, I'm very glad to hear that there have not been any incidents. And you said that in the Mkuze portion, there had been some snaring, but these had declined. How many snaring incidents have there been this year? And if it's not elephant that have been snared, what other wildlife have we found in these snares and other species, and how many of each? And also, I think that you alluded to the fact that working together with communities that reside adjacent to the park really helps to, I think, propagate conservation, because communities realize the benefits that they can accrue from working together to conserve our wildlife and natural heritage. And I wonder if this is not a success story that can then be replicated in other parks, like we've seen in SANParks with the uptick in snaring, that working together with communities can help in conservation efforts. And perhaps if they could not take a page out of what Isimangaliso has done in terms of working together. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Winkler. Are there other takers, honorable members? That video goes on. The camera is on. You know what it means. Honorable Minister?
No, Chair, only if the questions are finished. Let me allow you to conclude that process.
Okay. Let me check, honorable members. Are there other takers, or maybe you're still comparing notes? Okay. You can come in, Minister. Then we'll go to the CEO.
Chair, I think that it's somewhat unreasonable to be asking for stats on snaring in a parliamentary portfolio committee. Can I request that if we haven't responded to it in the portfolio, in the written question that was asked, that if we haven't already responded to it in the written parliamentary question, then I suggest we come back in writing. That was just the other thing I wanted to suggest. Thanks.
Fair. Honorable Ndate CEO.
Thank you, Chairperson, and thank you very much. I think on the issue of the farming community, they are part and parcel of this team that we are working with, as I indicated. We are working with them in finding the solution. Remember, in the panel of, in the recommendations of the panel that was appointed by our Honorable Minister, there was also an issue of alternative livelihoods. There was also an issue of seeing how best, if the area is not possible to be dealt with, if the backflooding approach or whatever that we're doing is not solving the problem, taking into cognizance that the area is a floodplain anyway. What could be done? So that is part of the exploration through these studies that is looked into, especially by the social scientists. On the issue of the commercial facilities, I think Honorable Winkler, I did present this in this portfolio committee that it is all the facilities, starting from your Mapelane, your Cape Vidal, your Charters Creek, Sodwana, Mkuze, Kosi Bay. It is all those facilities that we are looking into taking over through this commercialization process. On the issue of the Crocodile Center, yes, there are two aspects there. The conservation aspect, as you know, in terms of the regulations, that is still being handled by Ezavelo. But on the part of the commercial, that's the part that we are going to take over. So that is what we are doing at this present moment. But in terms of the facility itself, we did, through the presidential stimulus, renovate significantly the facility, and it does look very different now. So that is what is happening. I think on the issue of the snares, the minister has responded or has spoken to that, and we will take that guidance. But safe to say that we did respond on the question in writing, and we provided details per species, and we even went to month situation and animal or the antelope type on monthly basis. So the figures are there, and we responded to that as requested by the portfolio committee. In terms of this matter being a success story for other areas working with the communities, we feel that, as we indicated, unless communities, stakeholders, people living in and around these areas see the reason why these areas are protected and the responsiveness of these areas to their socio-economic issues, participation in the economy of the park, the conservation will be a lost game. But because of our intervention and aggressive approach in terms of stakeholder engagement and management, we have seen returns on investment, and we believe that this is the best model to associate with in the main. In terms of the sewage, the leakage, we did report that there is a team last time that was established, including the Department of Water and Sanitation that is working on this. The issue of the leakage was confirmed that there is leakage. What this team is working on is to look at the issues of how much damage this has caused, how far has it gone. So that is what they're looking at scientifically, so that once they are done, we'll then be in a position to come back with a report. But also, in the meantime, the municipality has plans in place to deal with this matter, because it is their responsibility to make sure that the bulk sewer is managed accordingly, the water and sanitation aspect. But this time around, they are being assisted by the Department of Water and Sanitation, because that function has now been taken over from the district municipality by Honorable Minister Mkhunu, to, I think at that time it was Umhlatuza, but now they have merged with Umgeni. So that's the team that is working with Department of Water and Sanitation, as well as Isimangaliso, to deal with those issues. So that's how far we have gone with that, Honorable Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Winkler.
Thank you for the responses. So I just want to query, you have confirmed that there indeed was sewage leakage into the park. Now, is this still ongoing? Or is the task team that's been appointed investigating a sewage leak that took place, which is no longer occurring? And what is the time frame for that investigation to be concluded? If you have that information, please. Thank you.
Mr. CEO.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, Chairperson. I think on that matter, as I indicated, that the issue has not been fully resolved. So that's what we are working on at this point in time. So we are awaiting a report from the Department of Water and Sanitation to give us an indication on what is happening or what has happened or what will be happening in terms of their plans. But also the impact of this situation on the ground is being looked into. So as we speak at the moment, there's no spillage that is taking place. The incident was last isolated in August 2023, addressed by obviously Umkhanyakude. But as I say, the issue has a lot to do with the infrastructure. And once we get all the information from that team, we'll be able to tell what are the plans going forward, just to make sure that this problem does not reoccur in future. But we can safely say that this matter has now been dealt with at the moment.
Honorable members, that is the presentation of the Isimangaliso Wetland Park Authority. Are there further questions to the entity? It would seem that there aren't. There are not. Okay. I suspect that brings us then to the conclusion of the proceedings of the meeting of today, the 7th of November. I want to take this opportunity to thank the MEC from the Northwest, MEC Klapi in absentia, the leadership of the South African Police Services in the absence of their minister and the deputy minister for the second time, the leadership of the Northwest Parks and Tourism Board, with hope and understanding that we will still descend to the Northwest to go and satisfy ourselves on the crime that took place there, but also because of the inability to connect today of some of the stakeholders, who must exhaust the possibility of inviting them next time to Cape Town for a physical meeting so that we don't struggle with connectivity. Also thank the leadership of the South African National Parks, the leadership of the Isimangaliso Wetland Park Authority, the minister and the deputy minister in absentia, and all the people who take keen interest in the developments and engagements, deliberations that take place in this portfolio committee. We shall continue to engage in the interest of the people of South Africa. With all that being said, let me take this opportunity to thank all of you, and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you.
Recording
Thank
stopped.
you.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Chilis.
So the meeting, the physical meeting with the parks, do you want this term still, Chair?
Masibafake, Chilis. Ibalulekile. Masibafake.
All right.
And ikhona into wasingaya pha.
So I can find it out, Chair, I'm not sure. But meeting in Parliament, it's possible.
Okay. Noma yiphi ingasebenzayo.
All right, okay. I'll check their availability for next week, which is the 14th, because I was also planning that the 21st and the 28th, we can have those two meetings because those are bigger meetings. We can have them physically.
That one of the 21st, isn't it? That we are scheduled to have something.
Yeah. And that
Yeah.
of the 8th of the 28th, depending if members will be attending COP or not. So yeah. So 3 physical meetings going forward.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Normally, whichever one works is fine.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Sure.